Michael Schuler was for many years minister in Madison, Wisconsin, the big Frank Lloyd Wright church out there they have out there.
Oh, there's a Frank Lloyd Wright church.
There's a couple. Madison, Wisconsin, and Unity Temple in Oak Park, Illinois, which is part of Chicago. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword because it's great having a Frank Lloyd Wright church, but they leak like crazy because there's a lot of flat roofs. And if you want to do anything, like build on a bigger fellowship hall or RE wing, whew,
I can't imagine.
yeah, the permissions you have to go through to get around anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, a good friend of mine was minister in Unity Temple, and he had to deal with, I think, our foundations. That was nothing compared to theirs.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Amanda Newton, and I serve on your board of trustees. My pronouns are she, her. I choose to share pronouns because I want this to be a brave, inclusive space for all. Whoever you are and wherever you have come from, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Akron welcomes you. We are delighted you have joined us this morning, and it is our hope that all will find this a place of peace, harmony, and dignity. We offer a special welcome to anyone who is new to our congregation. Please contact the church office if you would like to learn more about us, or visit our website at uuakron.org. We gather here on ancestral lands of other peoples, some of whose names have been lost to time and knowledge, of the abundant hunting and fishing grounds and trading paths, of the Erie and the Haudenosaunee, of the lands sought as refuge by the Lenape of the coastal Pine Barrens, who came seeking a home of peaceful coexistence. We are on the lands of trees and rivers, of abundant forests and great waters. May we, in our living and gathering here, honor this home of many, commit to repairing our relationship to the land and native peoples, and live in gratitude for its gifts. We have a few announcements for this morning. Our craft day is this coming Saturday, May 30th, from noon to 3 p.m. in the McKeeman Room. It is a relaxed open house. You can just bring your hobby, swap tips, and enjoy a good company. Please bring a snack to share. You can RSVP me or see me in coffee hour. Mark your calendars. Our church picnic and maypole, Sunday, June 7th, following worship. Will be in the backyard. It will be a picnic potluck. Bring something to share. Drinks will be provided. Bring your chair or a blanket to picnic on the lawn. Tables will be set up for those that need. Mitzvah Day is June 6th and 7th. See how you can pitch in. Visit the website mitzvahdayakron.com. Sign up to attend the Collaborative Potluck and GA Ware Lecture hosted at the Kent UU, Saturday, June 20th at 6:30 p.m. The speaker is Washington, D.C. Episcopal Bishop Marianne Booty. All the UU churches in the area are invited. Info on their website or see posters and flyers. Additional details, links, and information can be found in our weekly emails and on our website at uuakron.org. Visit us on Facebook. We will continue our hybrid services. Information will be sent each Sunday morning to the All Church email. If you want access, please sign up for the emails. If you have trouble signing in, please contact the church office. We want everyone to have access. As we gather each week in the joy and comfort of community, we take these few moments to reach out and greet each other personally, especially those we have not seen or who are new to us or the community. Please join me in widening our welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. Wonderful to see you. Oh my gosh, where did I put it? Let us continue our worship this morning by singing hymn number 295. Please rise in the ways that you are able. Please be seated. We come to love a church, the traditions, the history, and especially the people associated with it. And through these people, young and old, known and unknown, we reach out, both backward into history and forward into the future, to link together the generations in this imperfect but blessed community of memory and hope. Today's chalice lighting is taken from Ministry is Collective by Antoinette Holloman. We are in ministry together because ministry is the collective stewarding of our values in the face of the unknown. Church is where we do some of our greatest work, where we build some of the deepest community, and where we show those outside of our communities what collective liberation looks like. Our shared ministry is making this life livable in the best and worst of times. We can only do that together. What matters is the way we celebrate our lives together, the way we sing and hug and celebrate together. My ministry is with the folks who want to transform in this life together, hoping their ideas of mystery and wonder will be honored. Our Unitarian Universalist ministry embraces all of it, and together we are home. Our libations ritual comes to us from African and earth-centered traditions. We pour this water to remember those who came before us, those who served, those who sacrificed, and those whose names are carried now only in memory and story. May we honor them not only with gratitude, but by building a world more worthy of their hopes. We pour this water to acknowledge this living faith of ours, imperfect, evolving, and deeply human. Unitarian Universalism has always asked us to keep widening the circle, to meet uncertainty with courage, and to choose compassion again and again. We pour this water to offer ourselves to the future. May we become a people rooted enough to remember, humble enough to listen, and brave enough to imagine new ways of being together in this fractured world. May the generations yet to come find us not in fear, but in light. Now I invite you to please rise in the ways that you are able. Let us be together in one voice as we are together in one covenant. The words of our unison affirmation will appear first in Spanish and then in English. El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia, la búsqueda de la verdad es su sacramento, y el servicio es su oración, viviendo juntos en paz, buscando el conocimiento en la libertad, para dar apoyo uno al otro, vivir con respeto por la vida, en armonía con la creación. Por lo tanto, nos comprometemos y con Dios. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament. Its prayer.
To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to support
One another, live with reverence for life, and in harmony with all creation. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. Please be seated as we sing out our kids and youth to their SC classes.
Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We take this moment to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of this community. If you would like, you may come forward at this time and light a candle in silence as an expression of a special joy or sorrow. We celebrate with those who have experienced joy, and we hold in our hearts those who struggle in the midst of sorrow. Amen. Alfred North Whitehead said that religion is what we do with our aloneness. Let us take a moment to sit up straight in our chairs or pews. Plant your feet on the floor to connect you to the earth. Close your eyes if you wish, or leave them just slightly open. And slowly take in a nice deep breath and gently release it, releasing all of the stress of the week. Allow the silence of the next few moments to seep into your mind and heart, making room for new feelings, thoughts, and emotions to enter in. This morning, for instead of a reading, we're going to watch a video. Something that, two things I most enjoy on a Sunday are church and football. And if you're an old school football fan, you may know this video that we're about to play. I believe it was 1993 was the year, something like that. So go ahead, Tech, whenever you're ready with that video.
After this play, 4th down and 6, and right fumbles picked up by Leon Lett. Can he go all the way? Patient and warm. I'll give you the rest of it after this play. 4th down and 6, and right fumbles picked up by Leon Lett. Can he go all the way? It's a 60-yard run. He's being chased by Beebe. Watch out! Did he get across? No, they are not. That's going to be a touchback to Buffalo.
There's no call yet, though.
He has not marked touchdown. It was knocked out of his hands and went out of bounds in the end zone, which would give it to Buffalo at the 20. And look at Lett. If they call that a no touchdown, he's going to dig a hole and crawl out of this place from there.
He's going to need a big hole. They have not made the call yet. Was it knocked out of his hand before? There's Leon.
He celebrated too soon.
No, that's Jeffco. He's the guy who made the hit. Leon Lett's still lying in the end zone.
Now he's on his feet. And the call by hand
The play has been ruled as a fumble in the field of play. The fumble went forward through the end zone and out of the end zone, creating a touchback. Buffalo's ball, 1st and 10.
Leon Lett would have scored, but he slowed down to celebrate at the 5-yard line, and when he did, Don Beebe, hustling, stripped it away.
Beebe is the fastest Buffalo Bill.
And Lett, if he had just run all the way, would have had the touchdowns. He's already celebrating, and Beebe stole it away. Boy, that was a close call right at the goal line.
Yes, it was. Leon Lett, he's kind of acting like, where'd he come from, the sideline? He couldn't have caught me.
In fairness to Lett, he might have made it from that angle. It looks like the ball might have hit the goal line, but such a tough call. And the officials trying to keep up with all that speed. And that would have made it 59-17. Another turnover.
What a way to learn a lesson.
So Jimmy Johnson will not only have a victory in the Super Bowl to celebrate, but already material with which to coach.
The Unitarian Universalist Church of Akron is a sanctuary of love and welcome to all, living our values through ministries that care for the earth and for each other. At this time, I invite you to make a donation for the work of this church. You may do so in the sanctuary or on our website with the Give button or by scanning the QR code on the back of your order of service. Your giving uplifts all of our ministries within these walls and in the wider world. Thank you for your generosity. Well, there certainly is no shortage of change going on here at UUCA with minister and DR research to be conducted, to say nothing of some sort of ministry to be done in the immediate future. There's a good deal of uncertainty. But as I am often fond of reminding myself in such situations, the wise words of one of my colleagues who once proclaimed that to be disillusioned just means that you were illusioned to begin with. I've learned the hard way that you should never proclaim that this church year is going to be quiet, stable, humdrum. Those years almost always turn out to be quite the opposite. And yet, certainty and uncertainty about the future, or more or less anything, are both illusions. They're just stories that we tell ourselves about how we think we're connected, how we understand and how we relate to the outside world. There may be no basis for the assumption of my certainty or uncertainty, for that matter. The world outside is what it is, regardless of how I happen to feel about it. When organizations, including churches, are thinking strategically, they do a SWOT analysis. This stands for Strengths, Weaknesses, Opportunities, and Threats, SWOT. Now, strengths and weaknesses are internal to that organization, whereas opportunities and threats are external to it. This morning, I'm kind of focused a little more on the latter two, opportunities and potential threats. One of the key foci for the Board of Trustees this year has been on vision. No less than the Bible itself notes that, quote, without a vision, the people perish. Without some sense of where we're headed, it's easy to get lost. Looking to the future, where you're actually going, is far preferable to looking backwards. We all love 1995, but it isn't coming back, no matter how much we wish it would. But with a little vision, we don't need to long for some mythic golden age of the past. We start to create it here in the present. First, though, a parable. It was a cold and wintry day in Canada, and a young Wayne Gretzky was itching to practice hockey. His father, Walter Gretzky, decided to do the only thing that a sensible Canadian father would do. He put up some boards, flooded his backyard to make a big patch of ice, and created something of a homegrown hockey rink in his backyard. Or at least something good enough for Wayne to practice on. And here, the young Wayne Gretzky learned one of the greatest lessons of his life. His father, Walter, told him, "Don't skate to where the puck is, because by the time you find it, start skating and then arrive, the puck won't be there anymore. Someone will have knocked it away. Instead, try to anticipate where the puck is headed and skate to that spot before it gets there." At its most basic, a SWOT analysis is just that. Where is the puck headed? And how do we use our resources to best get there? As I said, today we'll be looking at where the puck might be headed for Unitarian Universalism, Akron, Ohio, United States of America, yes, even the Unitarian Universalist Church of Akron. Threats and opportunities are all around us, and they're not necessarily what they seem. No doubt you have noticed some of the work that's been done by our neighbors on the corner of Moorwood and Market Street. We had a display up in our hallway for a while kind of talking about some of this, so I may not be telling you anything new. Maybe you saw that display or not. Anyway, they're going to be taking out some of the office buildings, and they're going to turn most of that into apartments. Hardly surprising, since there are already so many apartment complexes up and down Market Street. But this one will include not only room for offices, but at least 3 restaurants as well. Welcome news if you've ever tried to get lunch around here and you realize the closest food is actually the food court at the mall. So these changes are happening. The folks doing this have been actually in communication with members of our buildings and grounds team here at the church about the work, even received some feedback from us at some of their meetings. This is an example of an opportunity, a tremendous opportunity actually. How many churches would kill to have a whole bunch of people move in right next door into these apartments where they can essentially roll out of bed and just be there? Plus, restaurants will pull people from all over the city to our little intersection. It's a lot more eyes looking on our sign. But wait, you might be thinking, what about all those trees and shrubs that they cut down? I know, it looks like the Battle of the Somme out there next to our parking lot, as if someone were shooting a movie about no man's land in World War I with these sort of stumps and dirt and no grass. Not very aesthetically pleasing until these apartments go up, nor is the sidewalk closing or parts of the curb being repoured. But did you notice something? When they cut all those trees down, you can see the church from Market Street, one of the busiest stretches of commercial highway in the city, and every day they can see our building. No longer are we hidden away out in the suburbs. We're here invisible, at least for now. This then is perhaps the greatest teaching that the SWOT analysis has to offer, namely that what looks like a threat can morph into an opportunity, and what may first appear as an opportunity may in fact be more challenging than anticipated. So the first puck, if you will, that we have to anticipate is how will we respond to our new neighbors? I can't answer that question definitively for you, but it is coming your way. An outreach plan of some kind would be a very useful tool in meeting and perhaps learning from the new people in our midst. Here's a good example of what I mean when that sometimes threats and opportunities get mixed up together. Donald Trump, is he a threat or an opportunity? Well, I guess when you put it in those sort of stark terms, it seems obvious that he would be a threat, right? To say that his administration is against anything that looks like UU values or principles is a gross understatement. We saw that ICE and Border Patrol could be used as a state police force in much the same way that other authoritarian regimes have used them. They're there to bully and frighten people into cowing to Trump's will. They're meant to feel like a threat. However, could Trump also be an opportunity? Sure, he could, and frankly already has. I think I told the story before of the Sunday in November 2016 when I was standing in the back of the sanctuary in San Antonio, Texas. This is the Sunday after Trump got elected the first time. And in that church, as part of the worship service, we processed in during the first hymn. So I was standing in the back with the worship associate, kind of looking out over the sanctuary. And my first thought was one of panic. Why are so many people here? There must be some meeting that I forgot about and didn't put on my calendar. No. Trump drives people to us sometimes. Do you remember a year or so ago, shortly after taking office, Trump made some particularly virulent words regarding trans people? Tried to label them as domestic terrorists, a term we've come to see as one of his favorite catch-alls. And at the time, it sounded like he was going to start rounding up trans folks and shipping them off to Gitmo or something. Pretty scary and definitely threatening. On the other hand, I also remember our board of trustees issuing a statement in support of the trans community. And to my knowledge, it was the first time that we had made such a public statement as a congregation since posting our Black Lives Matter banners. Speaking up for our values is an important ministry for any congregation to engage in, and especially so when we are living under a fascist or maybe wannabe fascist regime. That's a good example of the puck going in one direction and our church skating to where it's going. Because we had done our work around GLBTQAI plus folks. We had at least a little vision around what needed to be said and done. All the board had to do was articulate our UU values for the present day. That's all they had to do. But it became a ministry when they articulate those values in the presence of a world that is hostile to those values. The safe and kind of easy parlor games that we sometimes convince ourselves that is social justice won't get the job done in this new environment. So we have to get crafty and clever. I've come to believe that perhaps the greatest spiritual malady of our time is loneliness brought on by the internet. On the one hand, the internet connects us to each other in ways that we couldn't have imagined a generation ago. Social media means that I can see where my high school friends are going on vacation this summer. That's pretty amazing that we're that connected. But that connection is rather superficial. It's more the illusion of connection because the connection isn't particularly deep. And thus it might seem like you or I have a ton of friends on Facebook or some other platform, but we might actually be quite lonely. Indeed, one can self-isolate into a media bubble in which you never interact with anyone who has any different opinion or a contrasting interpretation of the world than you do. In Hinduism, they call this Maya, the illusion that turns out to not be ultimately real. It's the social equivalent of eating candy for dinner every day. Sure, you're eating something, but there's nothing healthy or sustaining about that. Church, including this one, offers an important alternative to that individualism and isolation. Church is where we come together IRL, as the kids say, in real life. When people feel these threats coming from Trump directly or from one of his agencies or policies, they need comfort. People need to feel a connection to other people who understand them and their vulnerability. The more the forces of division and coercion threaten people from other countries or cultures, the more they deny us all of the connection and compassion we take for granted. And so we become hungry for precisely those two things. We need human understanding of each other's suffering. Church is supposed to be the place where we can find and help create that love that lies at the center of Unitarian Universalism. It's supposed to be a place where we can find liberating love. Liberating love accepts us, holds space, and offers something tangible as well as spiritual. Regardless of the exact wording of the statement, our mission is there to help that love take hold in people's lives, both members and strangers alike. Ministry is a calling to help the world, not just ourselves. When the world is hurting, then there becomes a whole lot of opportunities to do the very ministry the church is called to do. Thus, President Sophia Betancourt's urge for UU congregations throughout the land to, quote, meet the moment. That advice to meet the moment is good. Vision's tricky stuff. Just ask anyone who tried to defend Wayne Gretzky. You want to look ahead as to where the puck's going, but you can't live in the future too much. You have to stay grounded in the present, too. Know where you are now so that you can skate to where you need to be. Thus, vision is looking forward, but not too far forward. It is anticipating just the next few steps, not the whole game. I used to chuckle when churches I served tried to make budgets that were more than 1 or 2 years out. You can't know what's going to happen in the next 10 years. It's so silly to write a budget for that. And so do we come to our cautionary tale about vision, Leon Lett. Now, Leon Lett is, honestly, someone I think about a lot, probably more so than most people, not related to the fella. A couple of years ago, and I did get permission to tell this story. A couple of years ago, my son Matthew was cruising along pretty well in school, getting good grades. And then all of a sudden, kind of at the end of the semester, things kind of fell off. Assignments not turned in, just sort of the effort not there. At the very last minute, he had a tendency to drop the ball, as it were. So one day, in a moment of parental insight, I pulled up the video I showed all of you, and I urged him at the time, I said, don't take your foot off the gas until you are across the goal line. Fast forward to this past week, where Matthew had exams at school, so I just texted him, don't let up, with 2 T's, don't let up. I workshop some of these sermons on my kids before I bring them to you guys. Anyway, Leon Lett was one of the great, we see this video, but we forget one of the great defensive players in Dallas Cowboy Dynasty of the 90s. John Madden loved that guy, as he often did, the big guys in the trenches. Now, defensive linemen never get the ball, except under the circumstances we saw, a strip fumble. Can you imagine having never, or almost never, touched the ball, much less scored a touchdown, and now you're about to score a touchdown in the waning minutes of a Super Bowl that you are about to win? That's the stuff of kids in the backyard. Where was Leon Lett's mind in that moment? In interviews, he said that he was thinking about what kind of dance he wanted to do in the end zone. He was thinking about imitating Michael Jackson, who had sung the halftime show at that particular Super Bowl. Can you blame him? Everyone in that stadium was living in the future and couldn't wait to see this sort of storybook ending of Leon Lett, the defensive lineman who got his touchdown in the Super Bowl. Well, I say everyone was living in the future except one person. Don Beebe, a name very few remember, was a receiver for the Buffalo Bills and the fastest man on the team. He's the guy who ran down Leon Lett and knocked the ball out of his hands before he crossed the goal line. Don Beebe was in the present moment. His only thought was, how fast can I get to the football to stop the touchdown? And he did it. Again, in interviews years later, I don't know how long it took Leon Lett to sort of emotionally process that. That would be an interesting question. But in some interviews they've done with him, he shares his admiration for Beebe's spirit of never giving up on the play. He isn't mad at him for taking away his moment. The Buffalo Bills were down 30 points with 4 minutes to play in a Super Bowl. There was nothing Don Beebe or anyone could do to stop the Bills from losing yet another Super Bowl. But he never gives up on the play, even when everyone else had. Leon Lett says, hey, that's a good play on the other guy's part. It's the heartbreak of football, right? And that attitude is why Leon Lett is one of my spiritual heroes. Could you get to a place where you say to the guy who took away your moment at the Super Bowl, nice play? Talk about non-attachment to ego. That's how a bodhisattva thinks. Because Bodhisattva Leon Lett teaches us by his actions. And his actions say, don't get ahead of yourself. Yes, anticipate. Yes, have vision that inspires you and moves you to action, but never, ever forget that you, me, everyone always lives in this precious present moment, the only moment we ever have. Despite uncertainty, questions about the future, we can be assured by this. Memorial Day asked us to remember the people who more than self their country loved and mercy more than life. All of our heroes whose bravery and courage we admire didn't know how things were going to turn out, but they had some hustle and a plan, and when everyone works together, good things can happen. But it requires participation by everyone at all levels. There's no room for a casual faith, as another UUA president, Susan Frederick Gray, once said. We have to get in there and make it happen. Here's to putting your back into it. Amen, and blessed be. I invite you now to rise in the ways that you are able and join in singing hymn number 301, Touch the Earth, Reach the Sky.
If you are proud of this church, become its advocate. If you are concerned for its future, share its message. If its values resonate deep within you, give it a measure of your devotion. This church cannot survive without your faith, your confidence, your enthusiasm. Its destiny, the larger hope, rests in your hands.
I quoted two UUA presidents, so I thought I'd go for the trifecta. These words are from Paul Carnes. What is essential is never to allow the limitations of time and the erosion of memories to deaden the longing of the heart in its mourning demand for love.